All right, welcome to the Explainer. Today we're going to crack open a term you hear all the time, database. But we're not just going to give you a boring definition. We're going to get into how they actually work and how they can turn total chaos into perfect clarity. Okay, let's get into it.
So let me ask you, does your information ever just feel scattered? You know, you've got spreadsheets over here, random notes over there, contact lists that don't talk to each other. It's a mess, right? Well, that's a super common problem, and it's the exact reason databases were invented in the first place. So what's the elegant solution to that mess? A database. At its heart, it's just an organized collection of information. But here's the thing. The real magic isn't just about storing stuff. It's about organizing it, structuring it in a way that makes it meaningful, easy to find, and actually useful. Okay, so in this first section, let's get a handle on the real basics. We'll define what a database is, of course, but also the software you absolutely need to bring one to life.
You see, the database itself is really just the container, the box, holding all the info. To actually do anything with it, to build it, to change it, to ask it questions, you need a special piece of software. And that's called a database management system, or DBMS for short. This is the program that gives you all the tools you need. A classic example you've probably run into is Microsoft Access.
So how do you actually work with all that data? Well, any good DBMS, like Access, basically hands you this toolbox. And inside that toolbox, there are four main tools, they call them objects, that let you do pretty much everything. So let's open it up and take a look at each one.
Let's kick things off with the absolute foundation of any database.
And that's tables. I mean, this is the bedrock, right? This is where every single piece of your data is actually stored. The best way to think about them is like superpowered, interconnected spreadsheets, organizing everything neatly into columns and rows.
Okay, to really get tables, you only need to know three words. First up, each row, that's what we call a record. Think of it as one complete entry, like all the info for one specific student. Then you have the columns. Each one is a field, and that's just a single category of information, like first name or email address. And then, and this is the really crucial part, you have the primary key. This is a special field, maybe a student ID number, that makes every single record totally unique. It's the secret sauce that stops you from getting duplicates unless you connect everything together.
Now, when you're working with these tables, you kind of get two different ways of looking at them. First, there's Datasheet View. That's going to look really familiar, just like a spreadsheet grid. It's where you type in your data, make edits, that kind of thing. But then you flip over to Design View. And this is like looking at the blueprint of a building. It's where you, the architect, decide what each field is for, what kind of data goes in it. You build the whole structure here.
All right, so our data is stored away safely in tables. The next tool in our box lets us start asking some questions.
And that tool is the query. The name kind of gives it away, right? A query is an inquiry. It's a question you ask your data. Think of it like your own personal search engine, but instead of searching the whole internet, you're searching your own data for specific answers. You could ask something like, hey, show me all the students from California who have a GPA over 3.5. And boom, the query finds them for you.
Okay, so tool number 3. This one makes getting data into those tables a whole lot nicer.
And it's called a form. So instead of having to stare at that giant, intimidating grid of a table, which, let's be honest, is an easy place to make a mistake, you use a form. Just picture a clean, simple digital version of a paper form you might fill out. It's just a much friendlier way to work with your data.
So why bother? Well, a few big reasons. For one, forms usually just show you one record at a time. This makes it so much harder to accidentally type info into the wrong row. And that's exactly why forms are perfect for the everyday user. You know, the person who needs to add data but doesn't need to be a database designer.
Okay, so forms are great for getting data in, but what about getting beautiful, organized information out?
Well, for that, you need the last tool in our box, the report. A report basically takes all that raw data, or maybe the answer from one of your queries, and turns it into a professional, easy-to-read document. Think of it as the final product, the thing you'd actually print out and bring to a meeting or send as an invoice. Okay, let's take a breath. We've got our 4 core tools: tables to store the data, queries to ask it questions, forms to get data in easily, and reports to present it nicely. So now, what can we actually do with all this organized info? Let's look at a couple of key actions. One of the most powerful things you can do is filtering. A filter is basically like telling your database, hey, just for a second, I only want to see the records that match this specific rule. So you can say, Show me only sales over $500, and everything else just temporarily disappears from view. It's an amazing way to cut through all the noise.
And right alongside filtering, you've got sorting. This one's super simple. It just puts your records in a specific order, A to Z, oldest to newest, smallest to largest. The data itself doesn't change, but suddenly you can see patterns much more clearly.
And last up, a little bit of digital housekeeping. Just like a car, you got to maintain your database to keep it running smoothly. There are two really important things to do. First, back it up. All the time. Make a safe copy so if anything ever goes wrong, you don't lose everything. And second, you'll want to run something called compact and repair. It's like a tune-up. It cleans out junk, makes the file smaller, and fixes any little glitches that might be hiding in there.
So you get the ideas, you know the tools. How do you actually start building your very own database? Well, you've really got two main ways to go.
On one hand, you can start from a completely blank database. This is like being given an empty plot of land. You get to design and build absolutely everything from the ground up, exactly how you want it. But if you want a massive head start, you can use a template. Think of a template as a pre-built house. It's a ready-made database that's already got the tables, forms, and reports designed for you for common stuff, like tracking projects or planning an event.
And that really gets to the heart of it, doesn't it? A database isn't just a box for storing stuff. It's a tool that lets you take a chaotic mess of information and turn it into a story that makes sense. It helps you find answers you didn't even know you were looking for. So I'll leave you with this. Your data has a story to tell. The only question is, how are you going to tell it?